And what specifically in the MPI do you believe the government of India has added to try and, in a way, cushion what may be the reality on the ground? What are the indicators that according to you, should not have been there?
They've changed the indicators to suit Indian statistics. This is problem one. Problem two, they've added on the number of bank accounts open. Now, I mean, the point is, do you have any conceptual basis for adding on or taking away and changing, or you don't? And so, in other words, you're confounding an already poorly designed multidimensional poverty index. That's the foundational problem.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions, and both of you are, look at politics sharply as well. So I'll end with that. We are in an election year. Dr. Bhalla, how do these numbers play out? Can the government of the day go out there and say as confidently as the Prime Minister did today that we brought down poverty in the last 9 years? Is that something that he can realistically go to the people and say with confidence?
Absolutely. And there's every number in the world, every evidence in the world that will support him in stating that. So I think unquestionable, I'm working on a book. I mean, no matter what you look at, you want to look at consumption of food, you want to look at consumption of fast-moving goods, you want to look at how much transfers of food is. I mean, I can't heuristically. Please tell me, how can you say that poverty has not come down at a sharp? You have to have some evidence. No, we can keep saying that this is not there, that is not there, we don't have the data. That doesn't take us very far. When I went to graduate school, the big story was that the mark of a good economist is what he or she does with bad data. Okay? You will never have perfect data. All economists in the world have to work with bad data in order to find out, glean out what is happening. Why can't Santosh do that?
Okay, but in some cases there's a huge problem with the data itself, some would argue. But Santosh Mehrotra, that same question to you. Politically, can the government of the day go to the people and say we brought down absolute poverty? Or can the UPA or the opposition say, look, we did a much better job than you did?
We can say hand on heart during the UPA that consumption poverty was not just brought down, but dramatically brought down in a way that has not been done, that had not been done before, nor has been done since. Because all the evidence about consumption and income is that, first of all, the growth rate has been systematically lower in the last 9 years compared to the 10 years of the UPA. The second point...
Yes, but inflation was higher. You see, you can pick and cherry pick the numbers. Inflation was higher in the UPA years compared to the last 9 years. So,
hold on. No, inflation might have been higher. However, the fact of the matter is that real wages rose faster. That's the point. We have the data for the real wages for both periods. And that is the basis for my questioning what would have happened to poverty. I'm drawing an inference. We also have very hard data for employment. And all that has happened in the recent past is that the employment has appeared to increase because what has in fact happened is unpaid family labor has increased. That's what has happened. And that has given the impression of employment increasing when in fact it's unpaid family labor that is being pulled in. There is no evidence of wages increasing. I've demonstrated this for agriculture. You couldn't have got agricultural wages increasing if 60 million workers went back to agriculture. Secondly, there's no evidence that manufacturing wages have been improving. There's no evidence that services wages have been improving. And joblessness has definitely increased. Okay. Youth unemployment is twice as much as it used to be in 2012. So, there is plenty of additional evidence that would support the idea that, poverty is not declining in the way is being claimed. I'm talking about consumption poverty. And we also know, Goldman Sachs, S&P, they're all coming out with report after report saying, oh, affluent consumers are doing very well, their demand is buoyant, but for the rest, and who are the affluent? 4% of the total population, for God's sake. I mean, let's get a hold of the reality here rather than, simply making claims.
Yes, Mr. Bhalla, you put up your finger. I must give you the last word then.
No, look, I just think that a more reasoned discussion of the data would show you, including wages data, including employment data, of the poor. When I say the poor, I'm really meaning the bottom half of the population, the bottom 50%. Every piece of data shows that the bottom 50% has really, matter of fact, I call this redistribution with growth. This is what is happening in India, and maybe we can have a more reasoned discussion next time. Absolutely no question that the bottom 50% of India has never had the rate of improvement as it has had in the last 10 years.
Okay, let's leave it there. We will have many more such debates. The good news is when you get two fine minds giving you two alternate perspectives, it only gives you a greater opportunity to have a conversation. And I am grateful to both of you for sharing your views, and we leave it then to the viewers to judge. Has poverty declined as substantially as the government claims, or does the UPA have more to claim when it comes to poverty reduction? Thank you both, Dr. Surjit Bhalla, Professor Mehrotra, for joining me.